Haaland's formidable statistics are giving Brazil cause for concern, while the Seleção are favoured over Norway ahead of their 2026 World Cup round of 16 clash. Scheduled for 3 a.m. on July 6, Erling Haaland is undoubtedly a player who demands their special attention. Opta statistics reveal that the Norwegian striker boasts a scoring rate unprecedented in World Cup history, posing a major threat to any defence. Specifically, following the round of 16, the Norwegian forward has scored 5 goals from just 69 touches, representing a conversion rate of 7.25%, meaning more than 1 in every 14 touches resulted in a goal. This is the highest rate recorded for any player with at least 60 touches at a World Cup since data collection began in 1966. This achievement sees Haaland surpass a host of global football stars. Oleg Salenko ranks second with a rate of 6% from the 1994 World Cup, followed by Goncalo Ramos at 5% in the 2022 tournament. Meanwhile, Lionel Messi recorded 3.87% at the 2026 World Cup, Harry Kane 3.8%, and the legendary Gerd Müller 3.5%. Haaland's threat lies not in the volume of his touches, but in his near-perfect ability to capitalize on chances. During the 2-1 victory over Ivory Coast in the round of 16, the 25-year-old striker managed just 27 touches across more than 90 minutes of play. Despite this, he unleashed 4 shots and scored the decisive goal in the 86th minute, securing Norway's first-ever World Cup knockout stage victory. That serves as the clearest illustration of Haaland's playing style. He does not need to be heavily involved in the build-up play, yet he always knows how to appear at the right moment to deliver the finishing blow. For Brazil, the biggest challenge is not controlling the game, but rather minimizing the few opportunities that might fall Haaland's way. The Seleção boast a highly creative attack featuring the likes of Vinicius Jr., Martinelli, and Neymar, backed by Casemiro in midfield, so they will likely dominate possession against Norway. However, this also exposes the South American side to the risk of counterattacks, where Haaland invariably serves as the final target during rapid transitions. A single long ball, a second ball situation, or a set piece could be all it takes for the Man City striker to make the difference. It is worth noting that Haaland has scored 25 goals in just his last 13 international matches, spearheading Norway's deepest World Cup run in decades. At 25, Haaland is entering the prime of his career. His power, pace, positional awareness, and diverse finishing ability make him the kind of centre-forward that strikes fear into any defence. Brazil remains the favourite to reach the quarter-finals, thanks to their squad depth and experience in high-stakes matches. However, the gap between the two sides could easily be erased if Haaland gets the chance to play to his strengths. So, what does Brazil have? A dream resting on the feet of Vinicius. For Brazil, the World Cup has never been merely a tournament, it is a collective memory and the pride of the Pentacampeão, the 5-time world champions, embodying the enduring images of Pelé, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, and Romario in that iconic canary yellow jersey. Yet, that very aura can sometimes cast a long shadow over the present. As Brazil sets its sights on a first World Cup title since 2002, the player steering the Seleção back to the here and now is none other than Vinicius. Brazil enters the tournament under manager Carlo Ancelotti, who has announced a 26-man squad featuring Neymar, Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, Marquinhos, Gabriel Martinelli, and Gabriel Magalhães. FIFA highlights Brazil as the most successful team in World Cup history, with 5 titles, yet the nation has gone 24 years without a triumph since 2002. It is precisely this prolonged drought that intensifies Brazil's burning desire to return to the pinnacle of the sport. At Brazil's matches, one can easily spot jerseys bearing Pelé's name, flags celebrating their 5 World Cup titles, and symbols of the past brought to life in the stands. Yet, whenever the ball reaches Vinicius's feet, the atmosphere shifts, snapped out of nostalgia, and pulled back into the pulse of the present. Brazil cannot live on memories forever. And Vinicius, with his pace, power, direct style of play, and the maturity gained from years at Real Madrid, is becoming the answer to the question, who is the Brazil of today? From impoverished youngster to the new icon of the Seleção, Vinicius does not fit the classic, footballart, mold embodied by Neymar. He is not a pure artist who dazzles with improvisational flair, but rather a modern forward, fast, powerful, and direct, favoring explosive runs from the left flank before cutting inside to finish with his right foot. At Real Madrid, he endured a challenging initial period before making tremendous strides under Ancelotti's guidance, a dynamic that is now being replicated in the Brazil national team. He is not like Pelé, Ronaldo, or Neymar. He is a product of a different era, an age of high-speed football, media battles, and racism exposed to the world, a time when players must score goals while simultaneously defending their dignity. If Brazil makes a deep run in this World Cup, Vinicius could well become a new part of the Seleção's legacy. One day, perhaps in the stands at a World Cup, Brazilian fans may wear yellow and green jerseys bearing the name Vini, just as they wear Pelé or Neymar shirts today. That is the ultimate measure of an icon, not merely scoring goals in the present, but securing a place in the nation's collective memory. Ancelotti understands Vinicius better than most other coaches. While the Seleção once revolved around Neymar, a player who preferred receiving the ball to feet, slowing the tempo, and orchestrating intricate build-up play, Brazil is now organized to maximize Vini's strengths. When Neymar returned to the World Cup squad after a long absence, FIFA highlighted his comeback as a major talking point regarding Brazil's roster. In reality, however, Neymar is no longer the focal point. That role now belongs to Vinicius. During the group stage, Brazil drew 1-1 with Morocco and defeated both Haiti and Scotland 3-0, finishing at the top of Group C. Vinicius emerged as Brazil's standout performer, scoring 4 goals, including a brace against Scotland. This marks a significant shift from his previous standing in the national team, where he was often viewed merely as a supporting figure within a system built around Neymar. Now, he has become the primary outlet for counterattacks, the player finding space to receive the ball, and the spearhead who dictates the outcome of attacking plays. Ancelotti and the redesign of Brazil. Under Ancelotti, Brazil does not necessarily have to play according to the familiar image of a Seleção that dominates possession and weaves intricate, stylish passing sequences from midfield to the penalty area. Instead, the Italian manager is building a more pragmatic Brazil, a team willing to drop deep and cede control at times, waiting for the opponent to make a mistake so they can unleash Vinicius's blistering pace. This approach establishes clear roles. Neymar remains the emotional talisman and a potential game changer, the one to provide a moment of brilliance against a deep-sitting defense, while Vinicius is the player who drives the Seleção's attack from the opening whistle. This is a Brazil organized to give Vini space to accelerate, and the freedom to choose when to explode into action, all while easing his defensive workload. A notable detail is that Ancelotti does not restrict Vinicius to hugging the touchline. He encourages the player to drift into central areas, specifically the space between the fullback and the centre-back, where a sudden burst of acceleration, or a well-timed movement, can lead to a goal. For a player possessing Vinicius's explosive drive, balance, and short burst speed, this is the most dangerous zone of all. Maturing through battles off the pitch, Vinicius's growth is not measured solely by goals. He has also matured amidst a turbulent environment, particularly through his fight against racism. In 2023, after Vinicius was subjected to abuse during a match between Real Madrid and Valencia, the lights on Rio de Janeiro's Christ the Redeemer statue were turned off for an hour to show solidarity with him and condemn racism. Once a player frequently criticized for his goal celebrations, his expressions and post-goal dances, Vinicius has gradually emerged as a symbol of defiance. He stands up not only to opposing defenders on the pitch, but also to prejudice and abusive behavior that transcends the boundaries of sport. In Brazil, lawmakers have championed an initiative known as the Vinicius Law to combat racism in stadiums. These factors contribute to the remarkable depth of Vinicius's character. He is more than just a player scoring goals for Brazil. He represents a generation of athletes who refuse to remain silent in the face of injustice. Within a national team that embodies the country's cultural identity, this role elevates Vinicius beyond the confines of his sporting profession. From Pelé's shadow to Vini's jersey, the World Cup always needs central figures. Argentina has Messi, France has Mbappé, Norway has Haaland, and Brazil now pins its dreams on Vinicius. For decades, Brazilian fans have arrived at the World Cup carrying the memories of those who came before. Pelé, Garrincha, Zico, Romario, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Kaká, Neymar. Each generation has its own icon. Yet, football cannot simply be a repository of memories. A great national team must always find a figure who embodies its own era. Vinicius is edging closer to that role. He is not Pelé, nor Ronaldo, nor Neymar. He is the product of a different age, an era defined by high-speed football, media battles, and racism exposed on a global stage, where players must simultaneously score goals and defend their dignity. If Brazil makes a deep run in this World Cup, the image of Vinicius could well become a new part of the Seleção's legacy. One day, perhaps in the stands at a future World Cup, Brazilian fans will wear yellow and green jerseys bearing the name Vini, just as they wear Pelé or Neymar shirts today. That is the ultimate measure of an icon, not merely scoring goals in the present, but securing a place in the nation's collective memory. For Brazil, the journey to reclaim the throne after more than 2 decades remains fraught with challenges. Yet, at least they have found a new focal point for their dreams. When the ball reaches Vinicius's feet, the past recedes and the present unfolds, and the Seleção can once again believe that the green and gold dance might carry them to the pinnacle of the world.